Next on Worcester News Tonight, a special tribute to two local men who played a role in one of the most important events in American history. Plus, an emotional day in court as the man convicted in the 2016 death of a Massachusetts state trooper is sentenced. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Cam Jandro. The man convicted of causing the crash, killing State Trooper Thomas Clardy, is sentenced today. Trooper Clardy's widow and children read statements about their loved one. Our Chandler Walsh was at the sentencing today and has more.
David Njuguna was sentenced to 5 to 7 years behind bars. Inside the courtroom, Trooper Thomas Clardy's wife, Risa, and several of their 6 children gave emotional victim impact statements. The Clardy's oldest son, Tyler, took over for his sister, Gabriella, when she became too emotional to speak. The family spoke about how the death of their husband and father changed their lives. Njuguna was convicted of involuntary manslaughter, misdemeanor motor vehicle homicide, driving to endanger, and driving an uninsured vehicle last week. The Commonwealth suggested a sentencing of 10 to 12 years. Njuguna's defense attorney recommended 3.5 to 5, saying Njuguna is a hard worker and a good person who did a bad thing.
There's no question that the death of Tom Clardy was tragic. It's tragic for David Njuguna as well. There was never a question of what happened, but how it happened. That day did not end the way either one of them would have wanted.
I was 14 years old when I lost my father, and it haunts me every day. My dad was my hero. My dad made us laugh, never caring what others thought.
And even though time has passed and life moves on, there's never a moment in my day when my thoughts are not with my husband, missing him, feeling lost without him, wishing to just have another minute to tell him how much I love him.
Dozens of plainclothed officers also filled the courtroom for Njuguna's sentencing. Njuguna has already served more than 3 years in prison, so he could be left to serve 1.5 to 3.5. Outside the Worcester Courthouse, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
The Registry of Motor Vehicles is evaluating what to do with its office in downtown Worcester, including exploring a move to a different location in the city. Mass DOT says the current building is safe, but it's deteriorating. The state says significant improvements are needed to continue serving customers, and an upgrade to the property would cause major disruptions, including possibly closing the facility for at least 1 year. Mass DOT says they are exploring all options and working with city officials to keep the RMV in Worcester. We know the name of the ballpark, but what will be the nickname of the Worcester Red Sox? For more than a year, the team has been listening to fans for ideas, and it appears soon the mystery will be solved. Our Gretchen LaRosa joins us in the studio now. She has more. Gretchen?
Cam, it's been long anticipated, but we're finally going to learn the official nickname as well as the logo next week. Now, the team confirming today they will host a free festive reveal party. Along with the nickname and logo, fans will get a chance to look at apparel as well as some of the latest design images for Polar Park. There have been a lot of ideas to what the nickname could be. The name Woo Sox has been wildly popular since the team made the formal announcement they were coming to Worcester last August. But Woo Sox hasn't won everyone over. We went out and asked fans what they think about the potential nickname.
Well, it makes sense. This is the city of the Woo, isn't it?
I haven't heard any nicknames for it other than the Woo Sox. That's the only thing I've actually heard. So far, I'm thinking it's going to stick.
I'm Andrew Arnold from Towanda, Kansas, and I think the Woo Sox would be a great name.
It's kind of lame to me.
Now, the reveal is set to take place on Monday at the Mercantile Center downtown. The event is free and open to the public. The announcement is expected to happen around 7 p.m. In the studio, Gretchen LaRosa, Worcester News Tonight.
Peter Slater or Benjamin Tucker may not ring a bell like Samuel Adams or John Hancock, but the two men played a role in one of the biggest protests in American history. The Boston Tea Party's anniversary is coming up, and the two local men are being thanked for their contributions more than 200 years ago. Their names may not show up in the history books, but Peter Slater Jr. and Benjamin Tucker Jr. took part in one of the most important events leading up to the American Revolution.
The Sons of Liberty and other colonists took the boldest strike against England and destroyed 340 crates of British East India Company tea by tossing it into Boston Harbor.
Slater and Tucker are both buried in Worcester's Hope Cemetery. To honor their contributions, actors dressed in 18th century clothing and placed special plaques next to their graves. A color guard fired off a volley. The ceremony was put on by the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum. They say Slater was still just a teenager and had to sneak out of his house in order to take part in the protest.
One account tells that Peter spotted someone stuffing their coat pockets with this cursed tea and using a knife cut open the pockets to render the tea thoroughly destroyed.
Tucker was born in Leicester and was one of the first chartered members of the city's First Baptist Church.
The revolutionary spirit of both of these men can be found throughout Worcester and across the Commonwealth, as the actions of the Tea Party participants reverberate as strongly today as they do in 1773.
Next month marks the 246th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, and to commemorate the occasion, the museum will visit the graves of more than 80 participants across Massachusetts.
It's just another way to bring history alive and to interpret history and get people to understand the connections.
The Worcester Historical Commission delays a vote at a meeting tonight to determine the fate of a historical home. Preservationists want to save it, but the property's manager says the condition of the house is a public safety issue. Our Matt Restaino has the story.
The Worcester Historical Commission is deciding the fate of the historic David Richards house on 5 Richard Street. Current owners Gold Star Builders want to take it down. Property manager John Frasolo says the building is condemned.
We've been told by the fire department and by the building department that no one is allowed inside because of the unsafe situation.
The house is on Preservation Worcester's most endangered structures list. It dates back to the late 1700s. Executive Director Deborah Packard says it's one of the city's last examples of federal-style architecture.
We have very, very few buildings of that type in the city, so it's considered significant.
The structure was damaged by a fire in the fall of 2017. Packard says she would like to see it be restored.
When you go there, you can see the evidence of the fire. We'd love to see that repaired. The interior, whatever could be salvaged, would be great, but right now our interest would be the exterior of the building.
The building has been empty since the fire. Frasolo says the damage has opened the house to the elements, causing the structure to deteriorate.
There's a huge hole in the roof that, the weather continues to make this building even more deplorable shape, so it's in the best interest to take it down.
The house is across the street from the Goddard School of Science and Technology. Frasolo says it's a safety issue for everyone in the neighborhood.
It is an eyesore to the neighborhood. It is a public safety issue. We don't want any kids or anybody to go inside.
In Worcester, Matt Restaino, Worcester News Tonight.
A children's author is stressing the importance of being in control of your emotions. Girls Inc. held a book launch party for the book titled Breathing Makes It Better. The book focuses on mindfulness and navigating your emotions, especially for young girls. Author Wendy O'Leary says it's important for kids to recognize their emotions at an early stage.
They are in charge, that they can start to understand how they feel and learn how to work with it effectively. And for me, the capacity to be able to manage our emotions more effectively is crucial in terms of just making some changes in our society.
O'Leary is a former board member of Girls Inc. After reading to the girls, she held a book signing and a breathing seminar for the general public. St. John's High School students are required to be clean-shaven, but in the month of November, the school breaks their policy for a special cause. St. John's seniors and faculty are taking part in the No Shave November Challenge. They can grow facial hair if they make a monetary donation. For the past 3 years, the school has raised more than $4,000 for cancer research. Headmaster Alex Zakaris says this year's challenge is especially important for the school. The money collected will be going to a scholarship for a former St. John's teacher who died of cancer last spring.
She had a long battle with cancer and, really was a remarkable lady who was beloved by our students and really persevered through the challenges of the cancer and was really teaching as long as she could. And I think she was a great inspiration to our school, and we're grateful that we can honor her with a scholarship here.
Zakara says St. John's holds an awards ceremony for facial hair at the end of the month. The awards range from best beard to best groomed beard. 2 cancer survivors are on a mission to give socks to children with cancer. These socks are custom made in hopes of making children smile. They stopped by UMass Memorial Children's Medical Center today. Our Valerie Bell has more.
Children battling cancer don't have an easy journey. Jake Teitelbaum knows firsthand. He is a pediatric cancer survivor. He remembers being cold and uncomfortable.
It really stood out to me that every time you're admitted, you're given your tacky gown and your beige non-slip socks.
Lexi Corian had a similar experience when she battled non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
If you spend any amount of time in the hospital, everything's really scary.
3 years ago, Jake founded Resilience Gives, and Lexi hopped on board. Now they're on a national toe-to-toe tour. For every pair of socks they sell, they give a pair to a child fighting cancer.
Some for you too. Thank you.
I think it's special to go in to a room and interact with a parent who can look across the room and see a young adult survivor and say, hey, my kid can get there, right? There's light at the end of the tunnel.
The socks are soft, mix-matched, and have the non-slip grip on the bottom. Each pair comes with a picture of the child who designed the sock.
All of our designs are from children who have been battling cancer, so they each have a little story associated with the animal that they picked. So Naaman helped us with those ones, and he spent a lot of time in the hospital. Yeah, that's Naaman.
To know that someone else stood in those socks and created something from their experience that is now positively impacting others.
Lexi and Jake have handed out more than 3,000 pairs of socks and don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Their sock drop at UMass Memorial Children's Medical Center is just one stop on their journey of setting up pop-up stores around the country.
It really restores your faith in humanity to see so many people wanting to contribute to your mission and contribute it to such a great cause.
Reporting in Worcester, Valerie Bell, Worcester News Tonight.